Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jedi In Exile. It's myself, Brian, and I'm with my fantastic co-host, Matt. Now, we're still on the Bad Batch hype. We were treated to a double episode this week. So
Came
we're
out of nowhere.
episodes 7 and 8, and straight away, it's just like being back with the Clone Wars. So let's get into it. Tell me what you thought, Matt.
So, Coruscant.
Yes.
Do I need to say much more?
Yes.
No, we love it. So we were saying before we were slightly disappointed a few weeks ago that in the trailer we had seen something going on in a tunnel that looked very much like the tunnel in Attack of the Clones that Obi-Wan and Anakin go racing through. So we assumed Coruscant. Didn't get Coruscant.
Yeah.
We did this time round.
Yeah, and we'd seen the Senate chamber as well in the trailer, and we've been kind of waiting for that. So, yeah, this was... I mean, it's just Dave Filoni bringing more of his content into the new...
He knows what he's doing, because he knows how to play on, like, prequels nostalgia for those
especially
prequel lovers.
because... So, Senator Chuchi, let's get straight into it. So, she's the senator for Pantora.
Yeah.
Now, Pantora is part of the Clone Wars... It was Series 2, I think they were introduced, where it was still kind of... I don't think Clone Wars was kind of taken seriously then, was it? That was
still like
the first
a
kind
kid's
of
show.
Yeah, the first kind of 2 or 3 series was definitely seen as a kids show.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of people who perhaps won't have seen or won't have remembered that stuff, because that arc was kind of 3 or 4 episodes long.
Yeah.
And so she's back, and she's obviously fighting for the rights of the clone. So clearly nobody really knows what happened on Kamino. As far as all the senators are concerned, there was a huge storm that wiped out the city. Tapoka City. And they all think it's a tragedy, and that's why the Admiral, is it Rampart?
Yeah.
Why he's pushing through this, defence bill, which we've spoke about at length on previous episodes. So it's building really, really nicely. I have to say, these 2 episodes it was weird how the Bad Batch weren't in episode 7. They weren't in the first part. They were in, obviously, episode 8. But yeah, as soon as Rex comes on, he's like, I've got a mission for you guys. You're like, yes! Bringing the band back together!
I thought that it was cool to kind of see what was going on. We talked. I can't remember if it's the last episode that we talked about, or the previous one, where we were talking about the fact that we had kind of forgotten about this whole like secret cloning facility that was going on.
Yeah.
We potentially are seeing what's going on there with this new clone who kind of was the assassin. That they were chasing down. So interesting to see what happens there. But I loved these episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, my favourite bit, and this is what I was waiting for from the trailer, was when Palpatine comes up
through the floor, and the chamber just goes deathly quiet, and he's then talking about... he kind of gives a speech similar to what he does in Revenge of the Sith, where he's like, the Republic will be reorganised into the first Galactic Empire. He does it about needing a safe and secure society. We need these stormtroopers. The music at that point is just something we don't really focus on a lot because it's not John Williams. We don't really talk about it. But this is the first, I think, animated episode where apart from probably the end of the Clone Wars, actually, with the piano music with Vader in the snow, this is the only moment where I thought, wow, the music just built up like the crescendo of it all. And Palpatine, he gave me all I kept thinking when he was making his speech, he sounded like Scar from The Lion King. When Jeremy Irons is talking, he's like, a new era is born between lion and hyena. And I was like, waiting for it all, like, for loads of roars. But it was so good to see Palpatine, and his voice, it sounded like Ian McDermott. I haven't actually Googled to see whether it was. I think it
but
is.
The voice is I was like, this is Revenge of the Sith Palpatine.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the look with the eyes, he's still got the cloak on. It's interesting, actually, that the Senate clearly still is very important. It's only, obviously, the start of A New Hope, where the Senate is, like, closed down by the Empire. He still has to keep these senators on side, and obviously, the Bad Batch have kind of fallen into his trap. He's playing chess while they're
Everyone's
playing
playing
checkers.
checkers,
So it's interesting to see what will happen with the clones. That's just like obviously the next step forward, isn't it, as to how they're going to get rid of the clones? Because all I keep thinking about with the clones is that obviously in Kenobi, which is set 10 years later, we see the clone in the 501st Armour, who's like a hobo on the streets.
Yeah.
So they're clearly maybe not exterminated. They're not like on the run.
The thing that was, excuse me, the thing that was really interesting about this episode, and this is what I've kind of talked about through a lot of the shows that we've done reviews for over the past little while, is that they're really bringing some quite like adult themes.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think Senator Chuchi has the line where it's like, these guys aren't battle droids, which is obviously how they're seen. They're seen as disposable, disposable soldiers.
Not to me.
But they this whole bill and the whole like kind of main focus of these two episodes was all about these guys have rights, and these are, as much as yes they are genetically like altered because they've had sped up aging and all of that kind of stuff. These are like humans who need to be treated.
Well, I think Palpatine kind of flipped the argument, because he's saying about how the clones can't be trusted because they blindly followed orders. But as far as the Senate are concerned, it was a good thing that they blindly followed orders with Order 66, because they built up relationships with these Jedi, yet when someone said, you've got to kill them, I mean, they didn't hesitate. Yeah. It was just pow pow, gone. So it's almost like he did flip the argument with the clones, because obviously they were these great protectors of the Republic, and no one knew they were there. And they suddenly, descended in, they saved the Republic from the Separatist army. And now it's like, okay, yeah, thanks very much, you're gone. And I don't know, because obviously they speed up their aging, so they age doubly in time. So if they waited, 30 years,
they'd be gone anyway.
They would be gone anyway. But I do wonder what's going to happen to them.
I think one of the really key things in this for me was there was quite a throwaway line from Rex that's all about like him having this network of like, because we know that there's clones that are deserting now and they're going AWOL and disappearing, and I wonder whether that's like the little breadcrumb that's going to come back later.
I wonder whether he's like almost a version of like Fulcrum with Ahsoka. I wonder whether that's
like the
part
early
of like,
version of.
I wonder whether that's part of that kind of like network, like you say, because clearly Rex and Ahsoka still keep in contact. I wonder whether this again is going to link into like whether it's Rebels, even things like Mando. Like, I still feel like something that Dave Filoni does is going to be linked to Mandalore. I still feel like we're coming back to, whether it's the Bad Batch, whether it's another series, whether it's a live action series. I feel like something from the prequels is going to come through to the Siege of Mandalore and.
Well, we know we're getting to see it in Mando, don't we?
Yeah.
But we just don't know what there's going to be.
Yeah, well, we know there's going to be
back.
like flashbacks, maybe, or some kind of, the story's going to be kind of told. Yeah. But I wonder whether they'll do that in animation, especially
to try and link it somehow.
Yeah, and it's easy. I'm thinking from a cost point of view as well. It's easier to animate a huge, massive battle than it is to do it in live action.
Yeah.
So, I wonder whether the Bad Batch are not somehow linked to this. And we haven't seen Crosshair in a while. So I think that's something.
Well, I wondered if that was going to be who the assassin was going to be, but then I was like, he's missed so many shots, it can't be him.
Yeah. So I wonder with that. Obviously, Echo has decided to leave,
disappear off and go
the
into
Bad Batch. And obviously, people, you kind of forget, and I did watching actually Series 1, that he wasn't ever part of Clone Force 99, was he? He was obviously taken by the Separatists, It
was in the final series of Thingy, wasn't it? In the final series of Clone Wars that he got picked up.
And they kind of said, because the whole thing through Series 1 of this was that there were 5 altered clones, and everyone just assumed Echo was one of them. But obviously he wasn't. Right? It's Omega, exactly. Was the 5th one. So, no, I thought these 2 episodes were really, really good actually.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I didn't mind the Bad Batch not being in one of them.
No, same.
Whereas we'd kind of complained before that when we didn't see Hunter
Yeah.
and Wrecker
I think
in their,
this one felt different for
other
me
version.
from that regard, or in that regard, because it was setting them up to come in and save
Yeah,
save the day
yeah,
at the end.
yeah.
So no, I totally agree with you. Like, absolutely loved it. So happy days.
Yeah.
Let's roll on the rest of the series.
Absolutely.
Let's see what happens.
Well, we're halfway through now.
We are. Whoa, we're halfway there.
Yeah.
But no, that is how we felt looking at all of that stuff. And if you guys have enjoyed hearing us talk about all of that stuff, then why not check out some of our other awesome content right here. And other than that, guys, we'll see you all really soon in the next one.
May the Force be with you all.